going to talk about just a couple more things. The first thing is that what we did there towards the end with bringing the experience of that, even if it was just the intent of experiencing it, regardless of whether you really were deeply experiencing something or just lightly experiencing something, maybe not experiencing anything at all, just having the intent to experience it, whatever. But bringing it into sort of the same intent space, if you will, or attention space as that feeling. That is essentially what one does if you're looking to use it to for purification, right? And so if you experience that, you basically get the experience of it as much as you can, and then you keep that in your awareness, and you bring your awareness and attention then to whatever it is you would like to directly have it sort of be brought to bear on from a purification standpoint. The other thing that we did was with the whole body. Oftentimes, rather than putting your intent on just one thing, you can sort of go up into this space, and rather than just being sort of lost in the celestial, you can also be aware of your body. And oftentimes that will bridge the two. And you'll find that it's doing all kinds of stuff, sort of all throughout your body, sort of that purification sort of thing. And that's very much along the lines of what I mentioned earlier. I often feel that as light is one of the best ways to describe it, even though it's not really light, but it just sort of has that feel to it oftentimes, sort of a very pure, sort of purifying, purification type of light type experience, where it seems to be really just melting or dissolving the different things that are in the body. One other thing, a couple other things. Think about as you're exploring, for those of you especially in TLC, where you had a lot of content around the locations and the layers, you can use that, especially if you have some fluidity there, to really begin to figure out what the conditioning, sort of to add an extra dimension or some additional information into what you're working on, right? So let's say that you have some sensation that you're working on that's in your chest or something. You can do all the things that we talked about before, which is really sort of figure out what's the scope of it in terms of what you can feel and what are the qualities of it and things like that. But remember that you can also go to different locations and levels and see how it changes and see what's different about it. And if you have a lot of fluidity, you can go far enough where you will probably no longer experience it. So you can sort of tell, okay, well, that's some sort of conditioning in the system that is within these ranges. You know, it's from within the mind level to the consciousness level and location 2, and sort of that's it. And that can be very useful because you can work with it from those specific places as well as from bordering places. You could go up to the awareness level, for instance, level 3, layer 3, if you had that possibility, and maybe see if you could operate on it, from there, sort of from outside it, and so on. And so that's, really working directly with conditioning with the levels and layers, with the locations and layers. But you can also do that as part of this process. You can communicate with it from these different places. You can really sort of sense into it, have communication flowing 2 ways, also from these different places that you can be in terms of your own conscious experience. And you'll find that it's different in each one. Some things will be more effective for some things, some aspects of it, some things more for others, and so on. And then finally, the last thing is there's no, I don't want you to think that the precursors that I put up on the screen earlier, that spiritual traditions and stuff often associate with these, are things that I think actually matter. And so that would be things like, abstaining from sex, or, becoming a vegan, or some sort of mental or emotional or value or moral based purity, or things like that. I think that what often happens is that you have a situation where people have a transition like this, and then they're on the, we see this across all of fundamental well-being. People have a transition and they're like, okay, well, what are the qualities of this transition for where I'm at? And then like those become the rules for what other people should do, right? But there's absolutely nothing to really suggest that that's what gets you there. I mean, I was eating plenty of meat. I was, like not abstaining from sexual activity, all of those things before this transition. And so I think it's important not to associate what comes after the transition with the transition itself, or what might get you to the transition. It's understandable that people only have those clues to go on, and so that's what they think, and they're like, okay, well, let's just have our, devotees or whatever do this, right? But I think it's important that we keep in mind those are the effects. They are most likely not the cause. And so I'm not suggesting that you go become a vegan, or go tell your spouse that you're not going to be having sex with them anymore, or anything like that.